Hey guys, it's me again. I'm here to talk about another character from the Transformers movies. We all know Sideswipe, right? Yeah. He has become a fan favorite since Revenge of the Fallen. Is one of the only good parts of that movie. But there have been many arguments as to what happened to him after Dark of the Moon. According to a bunch of people in the trading cards, it has often been said that Sideswipe got hunted down and killed by Cemetery Wind, which I could actually see because there were a lot of YKSI drones and they look exactly like Sideswipe. They look a lot like him. But the movies themselves never tend to confirm this. They never tend to confirm he died. And so it has left many wondering, why didn't he come back? It could be because of licensing issues, which is the reason why I believe Mirage slash Dino never returned because of licensing issues. But then again, you have to think to yourself, what if Sideswipe return in Age of Extinction and The Last Night? Good question. I don't think his presence would have affected those movies all that much. Again, Phoenix Studio said that he would have had him and Dino replace Crosshairs and Drift for continuity's sake, but again, Drift and Crosshairs would still appear to keep things grounded. They would still appear regardless of Sideswipe returning. Now, could James Remar have returned to play Sideswipe? Yes, James Remar, who played him in Transformers Dark of the Moon, could have easily returned to reprise his role. Now, Sideswipe at this point in time would have had a G1 color scheme in which he is red and black. The legs would be black and his body would be red, like in G1. He would show up at the Autobots Reunite scene where he would, of course, meet up with Optimus. When they watch the footage of, Ratchet and Leftfoot being killed, it would extend to Dino being hunted down and killed by Cemetery Wind and Lockdown. And this would set up Sideswipe's arc where he tries to fight, Lockdown to avenge Mirage Dino's death. Of course, he would try to save Optimus by cutting the net that has him in Tessa. But Lockdown would make sure to take care of it, and he and Sideswipe, I could see them getting into a fight, but Lockdown would beat him. The rest of the movie then go out almost exactly the same. But I could possibly picture him meeting up with the Dinobots. I think he would likely meet the Dinobots. I could possibly picture him riding Scorn. I don't know. But I would imagine him helping Optimus fight Lockdown. Bumblebee would probably stay with Tessa and Shane. Or Bumblebee still doesn't go by his rule. But with Sideswipe, he would help, Optimus get the sword out of his chest, and in the end, they would defeat Lockdown. Lockdown would still end up dying. And Sideswipe would leave, the site of the grenade destroying all of the KSI drones. Now, rather than Optimus going to space with, his rocket boosters that come from his feet, instead, as a nod to G1, Sideswipe would instead give Optimus his rocket pack, as a little nod to G1. I could establish that sometime in between Dark of the Moon and Age of Extinction, Sideswipe probably got a rocket pack built from Wheeljack. And then there's the question, why didn't he use it during the events of Dark of the Moon? It could be because the rocket boosters weren't ready yet, and that they still needed to be worked on. They still needed to be finished. And then would come the last night. Optimus likely would not have gone into deep slumber, but instead he would have made to Cybertron alive. Everything with his story on Cybertron would remain the same. Back to the Earth side of things. There would be a new Autobot joining the Autobot ranks. That would, of course, be Sideswipe's brother, Sunstreaker. Compared to his brother Silver Lamborghini, he would likely sport a gold Lamborghini. I mean, I know he's yellow, but he would likely be gold. And compared to Sideswipe, he would have guns. Now, when Megatron breaks out the Decepticons, not only would he have Dreadbot, Onslaught, Mohawk, and Onslaught by his side, as well as Barricade, he would also have two new Decepticons, those being Runamuck and Runabout on his side. The Ghost Town fight would remain the same, except Mohawk would be the first to die. Because he's small, so he would be killed easily. Sideswipe, of course, would fight Lon Hall as a reference to the fact that Onslaught is a reskin of Lon Hall, and both Lon Hall and Sideswipe made their debut in Revenge of the Fallen. Sorry I called him Lon Hall. I'm sorry, it's just that the design just reminds me too much of Lon Hall. But in the end, Onslaught would just beat Sideswipe and almost kill him, but then Sunstreaker would shoot at Onslaught, stunning him. And then they would fight Dreadbot. This would give Sideswipe memories of his fight with the Dreads back in Dark of the Moon. Nostalgia right there. In the end, he and Sunstreaker would manage to kill Dreadbot. And of course, they would then begin to fight Runamuck and Runabout. But due to the Decepticons losing, Runamuck and Runabout would escape. The rest of the movie then go out the same until the final battle, where Sideswipe and Sunstreaker would fight Runamuck and Runabout again. And Runabout would be killed, and Runamuck would swear revenge on Sideswipe and Sunstreaker for killing his brother. In the end, Megatron, Onslaught, Barricade, and Runamuck would survive. But Age of Extinction would pretty much end... Not Age of Extinction. The last night would pretty much end the same. And at the end, Optimus could give, the rocket pack back to Sideswipe. And rather than the movie ending with the Autobots going back to Cybertron, they would probably stay on Earth. I could imagine them also being back to Cybertron. I don't know, honestly. It could end with them going back to Cybertron still, or they could just stay on Earth, and they are no longer hunted by humans. So that's essentially what if Sideswipe returned. I wasn't too sure about the inclusions of Runamuck and Runabout at first, but I decided it makes sense. I initially considered having Berserker escape, but I had no other choice but to include Runamuck and Runabout. But anyways, if you want to see more videos like what I did with Mirage and Skids and Mudflap, this is probably going to be the last one, since I don't plan on doing, What If Robuster Return. I don't plan on doing that, so Robuster will likely appear in a What If Leadfoot Survived video, honestly. But anyways, I will see you all later. Until all are one.